All right, hey guys, welcome to a new episode of Force Will News. So we got a couple new things coming out today, news-wise, and obviously if you guys missed it, we had the spoilers released for the new yellow starter deck. I'm gonna cover some of the main takeaways from it, like some of the mechanics and stuff like that, but the actual video where I talk about all those cards and stuff will be a separate video coming out later today. So keep an eye out for that. We're sort of figuring out, because this is the first time, at least, that we've been doing this, where they're releasing spoilers the same time that he does his questions. So that's the same time we're trying to put together the Force Will News. So we'll try and get both videos out to you as quick as possible. So we'll sort of see how that goes. Channel news, so that's one of the things, is we're doing that. For these, they did spoil the starter deck, so we will be creating a proxy deck for that pretty soon here and have a video of the gameplay of it so you guys can get the sort of gist of it. It won't be that, it'll just show you how the mechanics work. Essentially, the deck itself isn't that strong, but that's intentional, as I'll get to as well. And also, you might notice as we go through here, I'll have pop-ups of comments that you guys have left, questions that you asked us to ask them during the Q&A, both in the Discord chat and the previous video. So I'm going to try and prop those up here to give you guys credit if you had asked those, to inspire us to ask them, essentially. So going through here, the first thing I want to note is, in case you guys missed it, the new spoilers show that they did change the font on the card. So the very top of the card, they changed the font so it's a lot more clear. That was one of the main complaints about when they switched to that new font, starting with, I think it was Battle for Ataraxia. And some people had trouble reading it, so now obviously they've remedied it, so that's kind of cool. He did confirm that in the next cluster they're not going to be continuing anything from like Will of Hope, Will of Despair, or Wanderer type resonators, stuff like that. They're going to be doing a lot of just completely starting fresh new themes. He says it's not impossible that something like that would show up, presumably most likely in Vingolf, but as of right now, nothing's going to be coming up. He was asked once again, this question he had been asked before, that we had brought up in news before, but he wasn't sure of, if the draft rulers that come guaranteed inside of your booster box that are sort of separate from your booster packs, if those are going to stay the same throughout the entire cluster, if they're going to change with each booster box. And he did confirm that they are going to stay the exact same throughout the entire cluster, and that when the next cluster comes out, that's when they'll actually change. So if you already went out of your way to, say, get a booster box so you can specifically get those basic magic stones and those draft rulers, you don't necessarily need to do that again, although that's a weird reason to spend 95 bucks, but whatever you want to do. He did, when I asked him, especially in light of ARG dropping Force of Will, if there's any plans to do sort of Force of Will-led tournaments, doing more support for that type of format and things like that. And he did say that there will be more stuff moving forward. He said there's going to be stuff for casters and architects right off the bat. And because of caster and architects, in fact, those are going to influence Force of Will and are actually going to help create more tournaments for Force of Will. I assume the takeaway I took from that was because since it's all in-house, they can have a tournament for casters, architects, and Force of Will, so they're knocking out 3 card games at once for essentially the price of one, if you really think about it. And so that, just especially if those other 2 games, either of them are slightly popular, that could really benefit them to increase the amount of tournament support for Force of Will. He did say that when asked about if there's going to be any more support or new rules for Hydra mode, which is Force of Will's 2v2 mode, he said as of right now, no, but he said they've been working and playtesting some stuff, so there might be either a new variant of it or some other version. He said they're also working on other sort of fun formats for people to use that won't be like official like tournament stuff, but just for fun like Hydra 2v2, so hopefully we'll get something in the future in relation to that. When asked if demo decks, the new demo decks coming out, are going to be legal, he said they'll probably still be illegal like the demo decks from before. So he did say that they will not be releasing any quest clear information until essentially it's released or open to the public, I'd assume. I asked him because if you guys recall, quest clears actually, they are going to revamp it. And that's one of the reasons that they didn't do Quest Clear this last time around, is because they're in the process of revamping and changing how it is. And he had said hopefully to make it a lot cooler and better. So as of right now, though I had asked him what those changes are, if we will find out about them, and he said probably not until they actually make it live, essentially. So that kind of sucks, but something to look forward to at least. We did ask him if there's those draft rulers and basic stones that come inside of the booster box, if there would be any way to obtain those outside of the booster box, whether that's somehow, my thought was, or someone had asked it in our comment section, so my thought was maybe via promos, or if the store will have an obligation sort of to give that out to certain players, or have a way to sell them to players or something like that. He said they're just in the booster boxes, there won't be any way to get them outside of the booster boxes. But they said most likely you'll see them being sold like for singles and such, since there'll be so many booster boxes opened and such. So, which is figured, but yeah, just some good information. And he did say that as far as casters go, that he said hopefully it'll be soon. He said it'll be probably within about a month we'll get our first demo decks for casters. So that'll be something to look forward to. I'm pretty curious to find out more about casters. We had done a video a little bit ago of myself and Oscar actually playing casters. We found out later some of the rules are actually different than what we thought. There's only so much we could go on. We just have the basic quick guide of the rules. And it was also extremely pixelated and hard to read, and so in light of some of the new rules, we found out it actually could be, it sounds like it'll go a lot quicker and a little bit more smoothly than what we were doing it, so I'm very excited to try that out. I did ask him about the resonator ratios, what they're going to be in the starter decks. For example, like a mermaid starter deck, how many mermaids are in it and so forth. If they'll be similar to the pandas, which had 4 resonator types that were pandas. The other resonators do support them, but only 4 were actual pandas. And he said he just couldn't remember, but he did guarantee that all the resonators support each other in some fashion. So it's not like the other starter decks where there's just some sort of random things thrown in there. There is going to be a new area in the play zone. So right now we have like your rulers area, stone area, your deck, graveyard, removed from area, different things like that. There's going to be a new area called item zone. So if we haven't uploaded our video, or if we haven't, we're about to, but you can go watch that to find out the more specifics about some of this. But it's going to encompass some of the new mechanics that are on the rulers and in the game in general, such as the new gems are going to be going into this item zone, I assume, when they're discarded and when you want to grab them. So there might be a finite amount that you're able to actually have in play, but there is a specific zone that they will be in, separate from all the other zones. And it's an item zone, so he said it'll encompass more than just gems. And in case you guys didn't see, there's also a new ability on top of the gem ability. There's a new ability on the ruler at the bottom that's sort of this weird language text that we're not sure of. And it's some type of, I forget the name of it. I literally just read it, so my apologies. You can check out the article if you want to see the exact name, but it's some type of seal, I believe. And it's something we just don't know what it is. He said it's something that you unlock during the game, and it's going to be, we'll find out about it inside of the actual cluster, inside of the booster boxes will be some sort of, I don't know, I'm sort of confused on how it works. If it's like, it'll be some sort of card that unlocks the seal, and if so, if it's a specific card that can only unlock that seal, if we can do multiple cards so the seal can unlock multiple cards, or if it's multiple cards that it can unlock the seal. I'm not entirely sure, but it will be interesting to say. And I asked him if going back to the gem, if the gem ability is that new ability he had been talking about, where the rulers were going to have some sort of new ability that'll be consistent on every single ruler, if items in general were going to be that. And he said that's one of them. So I assume that the item and the seal thing are the 2 things that'll be on every single ruler, or some variants of them. We'll find out for sure, obviously, next week with the next ruler. We'll probably shed some light on that if it still has that seal ability. It'll for sure have some type of item ability, it sounds like. So all the rulers will have something that goes with this. So that'll be something pretty cool to look forward to. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the news that I can think of, at least. It's going to be pretty interesting to find out more as we go forward. Like I said, I'm going to go over the spoilers as well. There's a lot of cool information, especially I'm really excited for next cluster in light of all this. And like I said, we'll have a video coming up starring the new starter deck. And also we have a new project we're working on that, I'll cut it out if Oscar doesn't want me to say, but we're going to be doing a new series. It's not coming out soon, as in like this week or next week. We're not sure the exact release date because we're trying to figure out the time frame, but we are going to be doing a story mode for Force of Will. So if you guys ever been interested in the story and the lore of Force of Will, we're creating videos on that, starting all the way with the very first lore article, and we're going to do it all the way up to the current. And essentially what we're doing is we gathered up our group of people. It's going to be at minimum about 5 people voicing the different characters, giving some variety, and we're going to have obviously the card arts and different things going across the screen, different sound effects, visual effects, to try and drum it up as best as we can. So we're just sort of figuring out how long it's going to take to create each episode. We've already recorded the first episode and are sort of experimenting and figuring out how we want it to look and sound and all that stuff. So we'll keep you guys updated when that stuff comes out. In the meantime, if there's anything you guys want to see about that, want to see in that, let us know in either the Discord or below. And if you're interested in that, we're pretty excited about it. But yeah, so that's all the news for today. So we'll see you guys next time.